All right, good morning. Wait a minute, y'all got to do better than this. Come on now. I know it's early, but we got to do better than that. Good morning. All right. I'm Hank Guest, and I'm honored and proud to be representing the city of Hickory as the mayor. I want to take this opportunity on behalf of my colleagues at City Council and our entire staff, some of who you will meet today, to welcome you to Hickory, North Carolina. We are excited to have the 2025 NC Bike Walk Transportation Summit here at the Hickory Metro Convention Center. Have y'all got a chance to look around here at the Hickory Metro Convention Center? If you've been here before, has anybody seen it? What an amazing facility this is. We are so excited to have you here. We've got tremendous staff, and some of them you'll hear from today. Yade's here, Karen's here, John Marshall's here. Actually, Bruce is not here. Anybody know Bruce? Bruce Hooker? Anybody know Bruce? Well, he's on the radio right now. He's on our local radio station actually talking about this transportation summit. So he should be riding in here any moment now. But I did see one other brave soul riding a bicycle. Who was that? When I was coming in this morning, somebody else had their bicycle out there. If you're in here, right, who was that? Okay, so we got at least one other gentleman that's rode his bicycle. Where did you ride your bicycle from, sir? Downtown. All right, well, that's good. I rode mine from the parking lot. But I do ride all over Hickory. If you see behind me here, you'll see some of our 12 miles of pedestrian walking trails, and they go throughout our city, and you're going to hear much more about that and all we've got going on in Hickory related to biking and pedestrian and safety and all that type of stuff. But everywhere, I can tell you from a mayor's perspective, I know we got the mayor from Curry Beach here. Alan, it's good to have you. Do we have any other mayors in the house? I know we've got at least one other mayor. But I can tell you from my personal experience that everywhere that we've done these trails, we've seen tremendous economic development and private investment. So it is for your town, for your city, from wherever you're from, it has so many benefits, not to mention the health benefits and everything related to that. But we see tremendous economic investment in our community because of the trails that we've been able to do and the partnerships and the relationships and the grants and everything that comes along with it. So I encourage you to listen today and to ask questions. And if there's anything here in Hickory that we can assist you with, there's a lot of staff, there's a lot of people here that work in different entities of the city, and they'll be happy to help you with anything that they can. One other quick thing, I will always remember this date and this time, because right now, as I'm speaking, my grandson is being born about 3 miles from here at Catawba Memorial Hospital. So I'm getting ready to welcome Stetson Colt Guest to the family. She's having a C-section probably right now. So he's literally being born right now. So I'll always remember your visit here this morning. I'm going to try, depending on how the baby thing goes, I would like to get back here and visit with you some more and be part of the different outbreak sessions. But you'll be seeing me in and out, and if I can help you with anything, if I can answer any questions, I'll be happy to do that. But I do want to say once again, welcome to Hickory. We're glad you're here, and we hope you'll come back and visit with us often. All right, now I think it's my honor right now to introduce to you the Bike Walk North Carolina Executive Director, Mr. Terry Lindale. I don't have my glasses on, Terry, and I just met him. So anyway, I got it right, didn't I? Linsdale. Okay. Well, we literally met like 3 minutes ago. So that's all good. And I had my baby on them. I had Stetson on my mind.
That's right.
Good to see you.
You got your priorities in order.
Thank you for being here, sir. Anything I can do for you, be sure and let me know.
Thanks for making us welcome.
All right. Yes, sir.
Morning, everyone. I do want to take a moment and say thanks again to the mayor. We appreciate your entrance, and we appreciate your commitment to cycling, walking, and active transportation here in Hickory. Thank you, Mayor. Have a great day, and good luck with the baby. The mayor mentioned a couple of elected officials. I want to recognize some folks in the room as well. So if you're an elected official, be a council member, a mayor, please stand up. I want to give you a round of applause and stay standing for a moment. Thank you for your service. The commitment to change your voice to a vote is incredibly courageous, and we thank you for your service. Now, while you're still standing, I want to have anybody else here that serves on a appointed board, a bicycle advisory committee, a pedestrian advisory committee, a planning committee. Well done. Thank you very much. I want to give everybody a round of applause as well. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else that wants to be a part of this, I want you to reach out to these folks that were standing, because they're making the decisions and translating their voices to votes at the local level. It's important for each and every one of us to recognize how we grow from events like this, and how we grow into change agents and policymaking and budgets, and really the impact on our community with built environment changes. So I want to thank you for that. As we mentioned, we have about 5 folks who are not here today, many of our speakers.
It comes down to one word: culture and culture change. And there are other countries that have done very well with that, where the expectations are very high, but it's about improving individual responsibility and mutual accountability to ensure that our roads are safe for all. It's been a great show this morning.
Well, that's a snippet live from WHKY that's going out nationally. Earlier we had some callers from New York City who were complaining about those bikers in New York City not sticking to the bike lanes, and it was a very interesting conversation earlier. But the fact that we have bike lanes and growing in a place like New York City, that we have a culture, as we just heard Bruce mention as well, we have to create a culture. And New York City is a great example of a tale of two cities. When we see New York, we see people walking, we see people biking, we see traffic. We see a commerce and business all trying to share the same space. The buildings are tall, but everybody experiences New York City at the ground level. Hickory's that same way. Hickory has two cities as well. We have the downtown, really built on the fabric of people, built on a city that was really built at the earliest stages of automobile industry, at the earliest stages of growth in North Carolina. It's a completely different feel than the space we're in now, that's built around the interstate and the movement of automobiles and industry through this region. North Carolina is the same. It really is a tale of two North Carolinas. We have an urban North Carolina and a rural North Carolina. Just as you're going to experience in our summit this year, through our walk audits, through our roll audits, through our bike audits, you're going to see the dynamics of an old city and a new city, and how we build cities differently. And more importantly, we want you to become advocates about how to build cities and communities better in the future. No matter what, as you can see behind me, our new tagline for much of the year has been, "We are all pedestrians." And even in a room full of drivers who have just arrived by cars, there's a reticence to embrace the pedestrian definition. But we're all pedestrians. No one takes a car on a bus to take transit. We leave things behind, and when we do leave our cars behind, we become the most important part of our transportation network, the most vulnerable part of our transportation network. And we need to make sure that we have the advocacy in place to improve our culture, our environment, and our investments in transportation. So that's kind of my inspirational notes for us for today. I want to thank everybody for being here. I know we've got people from the coast, we've got people from the mountains, the Piedmont, and everywhere in between. We want you to meet and greet each other. We want to thank all our sponsors who've been, hopefully you've been seeing in the scroll, go through while we're waiting. It's been an exciting time to plan and come to Hickory this year, and we hope you'll enjoy all the breakout sessions and the opportunities you have to meet, greet, and discuss the future of active transportation with all the people here in this room, so that we can become better advocates when we get back home. BikeWalk North Carolina is now in our 14th year of hosting an annual summit. It's the first time we've been to Hickory, and we're so proud to be here. If you haven't heard of our programming, We want you to take some time to talk to our staff, Kylie Robinson and Oliver Sindel. We've got board members here as well to meet and greet you, some in the lobby right now and here in the room. Get to know us, get to know what we're working on, and most importantly, have a great time. I'm going to introduce now Oliver Sindel, who is going to come up and guide you through the activities of the next day and a half. And Oliver's been a great asset to the organization, and we're so proud to have him and Kylie. And we appreciate everyone being here, and we will see you all during the day and in the breakout sessions. So, Oliver, welcome. Thanks very much.
Thank you. I'm really excited to see everyone here in Hickory, and I was just thinking just now how appropriate or interesting it is that we're in Hickory. About 4 years ago now, I moved back to North Carolina from Florida, and I live up in Boone, just up the mountain, and as I was driving into North Carolina, I came up 321, driving through Hickory, a town that I'd been to growing up a number of times. But what do I see being installed but a giant bicycle and pedestrian bridge? And this is even before I started working for BikeWalk North Carolina, and just the realization that, you know, coming back to North Carolina, things are happening here in the bicycling community. To see this enormous bicycle and pedestrian bridge going up in a town like Hickory really brought it home to me that I was coming home and was excited to be back in North Carolina. So it's been really remarkable and really great to work with the folks in Hickory as we plan this, both with the convention center and the town. So excited to be here and excited to kick things off. And kicking things off, Dennis Marquetos Soriano has served as the executive director of the East Coast Greenway since 2009. He and a staff of 16 work alongside volunteers, partners, elected officials to complete the 3,000-mile Maine to Florida Greenway and promote its use. Under his watch, the East Coast Greenway has grown from 18 to 37% complete, adding more than 500 new miles of greenway. Marquetos Soriano has quadrupled the organization's funding through his cultivation of foundations, corporations, and individual donors. And he has conceived and led ambitious programming for the Alliance, from regional conferences that gather and energize thought leaders, to the recent East Coast River Relay, a 2-month series of public events that marked the organization's 25th anniversary, while also strengthening its partnerships through the corridor. Marquetos Soriano holds a BA from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where he was a Moorhead and Byrd Scholar, and a Master's of Public Administration from the Woodrow Wilson School at Princeton University, where he received the 2008 Bradford Prize for academic and civic achievement in science, technology, and environmental policy. Prior to joining the Alliance, he has served as executive director of 2 nonprofit organizations he co-founded, Students United for Responsible Global Environment and Sustainable Energy Transition. A native of Chatham County, near the town of Pittsburgh, North Carolina, he now lives in Durham. Marquetos Soriano enjoys basketball, soccer, riding his bike, and time outdoors with his wife, extended family, and friends. Please welcome Dennis.
Thank you. Thank you, Oliver. Well, I think you know enough about me. Maybe I should just go to Q&A now. What do you think? So, first, I'm sorry I didn't bike in like the mayor, but I like how he was guessing on the last name. Anybody? Mayor guess? All right. Well, humor is going to be part of my theme today, but not too much, so you don't have to worry too much on that. I want to get to know y'all, and I'd love to share about my experience. I hope I do it in a way that's useful to you and helpful as you go in your quest to make biking and walking safe and fun for everyone. Just want to say also thank you for sitting indoors on a beautiful fall day. It shows your commitment to biking and walking and to making this state such a great state that you're willing to be in here and listen and learn and gather with friends and allies working in this key space. I do want to thank Mayor Hank Guest and his team and everyone in the town of Hickory for hosting us for this important summit. And I especially want to thank the North Carolina Bike Walk team for hosting it, for putting it on, for putting in all the hard work, working with us speakers and all the great people you've brought together. This is critical work that you're doing, and you're doing it really well. So thank you, Terry, for your leadership and everyone on the team. So this morning, I'll be sharing some of my experiences and ideas to help our state become a national leader on what just might be the most important effort in the world right now. And first, I want to get to know where are y'all from. I'd love to hear, first, who's here from the mountains? All right. Yes. Fantastic. Well, everyone in the mountains, we're with you, and we're really inspired by how the recovery and the fortitude that you had. And what you faced last fall was devastating, but I'm so impressed by how much you're standing tall and recovering. And all of us in North Carolina, we have your back, so we're with you. Also want to ask, how about from the Piedmont? How many of us from the Piedmont? It's a big population center, makes sense. All right, excellent. I'm also from the Piedmont, as we hear. And the Coastal Plain, I know we got some Coastal Plain here. Excellent. All right, excellent. Well, how I would like to end the day, by the end of my talk and throughout the summit, I'd like us to feel the power of connection from the top of Mount Mitchell to the sand at Carolina Beach and the Outer Banks. I'd like us to feel that connection throughout the state of North Carolina and really to feel like a movement that's ready to make change. I'll start by sharing my background as a North Carolinian, then my recent focus, our current moment in time, and how our collaborative efforts can change the course of history for our state, our country, and even the world. All right. I grew up on a dirt road amidst the oaks and pines of rural Chatham County, several miles north of the small town of Pittsburgh. Anybody heard of that? A few of you? That's good. That's good. It's changed a lot since I was a little boy, but it's a beautiful town. I was more of a runner and a walker in the early days, but enjoyed a few bike rides down the hill on our land. And I grew up along Dry Creek. I'd always be playing out by the creek, and it showed me the deep power of connection. Dry Creek, you may not have heard, there's plenty of dry creeks all over the place. This one flows into the Haw River, into Jordan Lake, and then down to the Cape Fear. It goes down to Carolina Beach and other places. And, you know, playing at the creek, it really showed me the deep power of connection. As the freshwater mussels and the mighty oaks became like brothers and sisters to me. And the woods and the streams, they gave me strength for sports, focus for learning, and a rootedness that bred tenacity, confidence, and calm. And I want my children and everyone to enjoy those benefits as well. Now, after getting educated from some great teachers that nurtured my mind and soul at Pittsburgh Elementary, Horton Middle, and Northwood High, like Miss Dean, Miss Lipson, Mr. Brantley, and Mr. Trafaro, incredible teachers that I'm sure you've had so many great teachers in your life. I headed off to one of the many outstanding universities in our state, UNC Chapel Hill, and there, the bike became a big part of my life. That's where it was my preferred means of efficiently enjoying every square foot of campus and every square foot of that surrounding community. After studying economics there, I got a certificate in nonprofit management at Duke, And so I try to, cheer on both teams. It's kind of like schizophrenia or something like that. But yeah, I have a little affinity to both, My connections grew with the great mix of students from the big cities to the small towns of every background. And I ventured far and wide for service work and learning in Nicaragua, in the Dominican Republic, in India, Pakistan, and beyond. I remained a country boy from the woods of Chatham County, but these connections gave me new and wider perspectives that have been very valuable ever since. After graduation, I was lucky that my first full-time job brought me to campuses all over the great state of North Carolina. I was working at Common Cause and Surge, and I went all the way from Western Carolina in Cullowhee, UNC Asheville, and App State and Boone in the mountains, all the way to UNC Wilmington and Elizabeth City State University, getting to know this great state and seeing the good stuff and the stuff we got to work on. And I was helping students feel the power of connection and the power of what they can do about it, so they could join the boards and make a difference, so they could run for office and do all sorts of things to be a part of the civic engagement that we need. And the new connections that I developed really helped me develop my love for this state and showed me how to achieve common goals with people and institutions, all the way from the local level up to the national. And then this chapter begins, the East Coast Greenway. How many folks feel like they're pretty familiar with the East Coast Greenway? If you could raise your hand. I hear you. Yeah, we got to work on it. I'll get our comms team to focus on getting it out there more and more. And that's what I want to share with you today. So I'm going to give you all some more background. So after graduate school in the Northeast, my job these past 16 years has been leading the development of one of the nation's marquee infrastructure projects, the 3,000-mile Maine to Florida East Coast Greenway. During that time, we have built it out so much that we have 1,100 miles of multi-use paths in 15 states and DC. This is paths for biking, for walking, for pushing the stroller, for taking the skateboard, for unicycling, all of the above. We're trying to build community. Miles of smiles, as we call it. Just riding along. And what we have is a very rigorous process to get to designation, because we want that width and we want that safety for everyone. So all the way from that visioning process to the final inspection, that's what it's going to take. We're talking photos. We have someone on our team who has seen the Greenway and says, yes, this is up to snuff and it's ready. It's ready for everyone. From planning to inspection. And so we have now gotten to where we're close to 40% of the route is complete. And another 25% of it is an advanced stage of development. We aim to accelerate progress so much so that we have a family-friendly route all the way from Canada to Key West. So you can take your child, your friend, your grandfather, grandmother, anybody with you and experience the whole East Coast. That's our goal. We're not there yet, but that's our goal. And study after study has shown, as you all know well, that this public space is not a nice to have, but a necessity for our physical and mental health, for our economy, and for our community. It's a space for all kinds of people to come together. Let's share the origin story. It may not be a spider bite, Spider-Man. Oh, okay, we got some more clicks here. 450 communities. 50 million bike rides, runs, and walks now per year. Here's the origin story. This is founded in 1991. We've got the Greenway Planning Director of New York City, Karen Votava, meets up at a bike conference just like this, meets a great number of people in Cambridge, Massachusetts, who are interested in long-distance bike routes. And they get together. There's Pat King from Boston. There's a number of people. Eventually, they meet luminaries like Chuck Flink of Durham, because originally, this route, as you can see, it was from Boston to DC. That was the original vision. Luckily, within about a year, they woke up to the reality, let's do the whole eastern seaboard, and that's the way to do it. And this is from one of the first rides. I know, I love this photo because it makes it look like it's 1891, you know, on the train and all. But it was in 1991. In 1992 was this ride. And this was incredible. And it's a lot like Margaret Mead said. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. And those wise words ring true. Margaret Mead's words. The East Coast Greenway is a great example of visionary and bold leadership from the nonprofit sector, bringing people together for common purpose, expanding on the great idea of our national park system by bringing our linear park to the cities, the towns, and the neighborhoods where people live. It's an urban, suburban, and rural cousin to the Appalachian Trail, conceived by our founders, these great people who were doing the work just like you on the local level and on the state level, but wanted to think even bigger. And they grabbed a hold of that idea and they ran with it. Our focused tenacity and expertise have turned their vision into an emerging reality, connecting people from the moose to the manatee, from the pines to the palms, from the puffins to the pelicans. If you like desserts like me, it's from the best blueberry pie you could imagine to the best key lime pie. And we're getting it done. We're making it happen. Here in North Carolina, our route goes through 23 counties in the central and eastern part of the state, from Durham, Cary, and Raleigh, to Fayetteville, Wilmington, and Greenville. And as you can see, our spine route actually is joined by a more coastal route. And that separation happens in Wilmington, and then they rejoin in Richmond, Virginia. We're making strong progress in the state of North Carolina as the East Coast Greenway recently became a state trail that's part of the state park system. And the Triangle has become the most complete metro area of our entire corridor, having hit 97% off-road for 75 miles. I recommend a trip. It's fantastic. And if you look at it historically, how we've achieved this in our state, the Greenway's advanced through planning, studies, and stages of development, thanks to awesome work of our North Carolina Greenway manager, Andrew Meeker. Has he arrived yet? Is he in the room yet? There he is. I thought so. Andrew is doing fantastic work, and well done, Andrew. And so in partnership with great people like Dale McKeel, who's been a long time state committee chair for us, volunteered for us incredibly, our board treasurer, Spencer Finch of Alta Planning and Design, and another board member who we have here, and town council member from Cary, Lori Bush. Thank you. Thank you, Lori. Iona Thomas, Sig Hutchinson, Stephen Hardy-Braz. It's a hall of fame that we have that we're working with to get this done. We together can transform North Carolina. So if you add it all up, and here's Stephen Hardybrass. I think he'll be speaking tomorrow. There he is over there. Hey, Stephen. Good to see you. Over the past 30 years, when you add it all up, the East Coast Greenway Alliance nonprofit has turned $20 million in donations into $2 billion in public investment toward completing the Greenway. Every year, we improve dozens of miles, building out new miles and enhancing on-road miles to make the Greenway safer for everyone. When you add up all those miles completed and in development, again, it makes up 65% of our route. That's awesome progress. And we've made that progress thanks to generous donors, growing number of donors, of foundations, companies like REI who've supported this work, just like I hope they support your work, and every nonprofit that has an important quest just like this. And that's allowed us to grow our staff's capacity from 4 to 15 plus, because that's really what it takes to get such a big project done. Now, we're transforming lives. I'm talking millions of people, giving them the peace of mind on their short daily commutes, what Andrew calls from the mundane to the magical. These daily commutes by bike, or their afternoon stroll where a grandfather, grandparent, an elder statesman gets the dignity they deserve for a safe walk. A mother and their young child gets relaxing moments amidst their busy lives. The Greenway is also a path for long-distance adventure, enjoying the culture, the history, and the nature of our Maine to Florida region. When you add up all these experiences, the East Coast Greenway recently became the most visited park in America, with that 50 million rides, runs, and walks. Pictured here on the left is Regina Yan, who biked the whole Greenway during COVID times as her first major bike journey. She's incredible. She became, at the time, the fastest person to ever ride the Greenway because she only had a month, and she'd got it done in 27 days. Pretty incredible. She spread the Greenway word so well through a viral video called Not So Scary After All, and she's so great to work with that she recently became our board chair in January. On the right is another story of inspiration and transformation. Avery Suter started his unicycle Greenway quest by falling on his driveway. His mom let him keep going as a 19-year-old, and he had the audacity and tenacity to keep going all the way to Key West. His unprecedented unicycle experience as a 19 and 20-year-old gave him the confidence to talk to national media. He was even the butt of a joke on the Jimmy Fallon show. And to be a great ambassador of the Greenway as he pedaled along. As anyone know, unicycling, I was amazed. I biked with him for about a mile, let's say, on the Greenway. And I was just strolling along, you can look around, you can, no hands, blah, 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 on a regular bike. But this guy, he was so focused on the little things. If you just go, up a curb or something, that's not really going to happen on a unicycle. But if you go over something really small on a bike, it takes serious focus. It was just incredible that he was able to do this, thousands of miles on the Greenway. But let me tell you more about him. He gained a sense of community as people helped him throughout his journey, and he's carried that with him ever since. In fact, afterward, he led the improvement of local biking and walking infrastructure in his hometown of Wells, Maine. And this summer, he became the top vote getter to join the Wells town council as a 22-year-old. I love it. This guy's awesome. The Greenway will soon have the power to cultivate thousands of Reginas and Averys throughout the eastern seaboard as a path towards service and community. Now, for me, it's transforming my life too. My connections and my conviction have both grown as I raise a family alongside the Greenway in our headquarters city of Durham. Friendships from my kids' schools and sports teams and more enrich our lives greatly, especially when we're out biking and walking. Just this fall, we started a bike bus at my younger son's school. Has anyone heard of a bike bus? Pretty cool concept. Some incredible people leading stuff out in Portland, Oregon, and all around the country. So I got a little inspired. And in the past couple weeks, the first day we had 4 people riding together, me, my son, and a couple friends. By that Friday, which was the official bike bus day, where we have music, good stuff like Rocky theme song and, Bicycle Race by Queen and all the good stuff, We had around 15 first Friday. That's cool growth. And then this past Friday, we had 25, and another 15 kids biked as well. It's the most biking that the principal's ever seen. He's adding bike parking at Southwest Elementary. Go Seahawks. And it's really good to see. Not enough. We're not satisfied. We're going to keep growing, but it's really good to see. That safe space for kids to learn to bike is so critical, and we want to lift up the fact that greenways are that critical gateway to an active life. Now, I've been lucky this year, and I do want to say such community doesn't stop at our borders. It doesn't stop in our home state and in our home region. It can extend to neighbors all around the world. And at the Greenway Alliance, we invest in our staff so much that after 10 years, you get a 1-month sabbatical. After each 5 years after that, if you stick around, you get another 1-month sabbatical. And so I was fortunate to go to Western Europe earlier this year and to learn from a lot of great peers, inspiring stuff. I hiked and biked on trails all over the UK, from London's sections of the Thames Path, Hadrian's Wall Path further north, the Pennine Way, and the Lake District trails in England, to the moors in Wales and the West Highland Way in Scotland. I learned of the communal and inspiring Right to Roam in the UK, and it was a delightful way for me to connect with part of my family heritage. I also visited parts of Paris one weekend, and I enjoyed the fruit of Mayor Hidalgo's labor. In just a decade, her administration has led a transformation in Paris, showing what's possible in a decade, tripling biking and walking in the center of the city and its millions of people. Just incredible stuff. So we got to get inspiration wherever we can get it. Sometimes it's in the best cities of the world. And then I saw what's possible. I went to the Netherlands by train and saw the beauty of what they have established. In Utrecht, Netherlands, this is a city of over 300,000 people. Bikes make up over 50% of all trips. Think about that. Instead of 1 to 6% is what we celebrate here. And I'm celebrating right along with anybody who celebrates it here in the United States. They've gotten to a much higher level. Transit and walking are prevalent, and making car trips is rare by comparison. There in Utrecht, I attended the International Biking and Hiking Conference in February and was blown away by how universal biking is for people of all ages. The photo to the left All those bikes, that's right next to a school. That's the future I want to see here in the U.S., where young people are getting places with their able bodies. It's just incredible strength of youth. They're using it so then they can sit down and focus because they've gotten their wiggles out biking. Now they can focus and get learning. And the community is so lively and so connected and healthy as a result of decades of focus and investment. It shows us that an amazing future is possible, though for us to get there, it's going to be a marathon, not a sprint. Our state has a vision to get us on our way. Over 10 years ago, I shared a goal with colleagues to build on North Carolina's good roads reputation by making our state the Great Trails State. Over time, we grew our coalition and engaged state leaders. Our momentum has grown steadily, and we attained major progress when the legislature and governor declared 2023 as the year of the trail. Through strong engagement and shows of universal public support, we've grown investment in trails throughout the state at a time when other programs were getting cut. We were very effective because what we do is universal. Everyone loves trails. And we made that very clear. So through strong engagement and shows of that universal public support, we've grown that investment. And now, becoming the Great Trail State is an official goal with a plan. And Governor Stein announced $25 million in investment into the effort this year, part of it as a key component of Helene recovery. The Great Trails State 100-county vision is a path to safer and more enjoyable biking and walking. So let's coordinate and team up with this effective coalition of 130 organizations to make transformational progress. If you aren't yet involved, we welcome you to help strengthen that movement. Unfortunately, there is an elephant in the room I haven't mentioned yet. A U.S. DOT memo circulated this spring by Secretary Duffy was against investment in biking infrastructure, as they shared an intention to cut both future investment and allocated resources of the past few years. It shows now is a critical time to stand strong with our allies throughout the political spectrum and send that message of don't mess with biking and walking safety, especially for our kids, and as a key path to a strong economy. Biking is one of the best ways to beat today's inflation. And I gotta say, even tariffs can increase the price of a refreshing walk on the Greenway. The people of our country deserve safe networks to bike and walk. Unfortunately, we don't have enough today. This is a graph of fatalities of pedestrians nationwide. And we were making great progress until around 2009. And then that graph has gone up. Fatalities have gone up. And this graph is very similar for cyclists. The stated mission of the U.S. Department of Transportation is, quote unquote, to ensure our nation has the safest, most efficient, and modern transportation system in the world. By that measure, unfortunately, the department is currently failing. Without establishing safe routes like the Greenway, we will continue to fail. Our movement needs to gain power to partner with and hold DOT accountable in this age of distraction and giant vehicles. Safety can't just be something we agree on and talk about. It has to be something we act on. Esse quam videre, y'all. You remember that state motto? To be rather than to seem. No infrastructure has a better return on investment than greenways and trails. Our linear parks are often, poll after poll, ranked as the top amenity of their region. And they attract tourists who fill hotels, campsites, restaurants, and breweries. A key way to get out of our current economic slowdown is to invest in greenway planning, design, and construction that welcomes everyone to enjoy the outdoors. And it can be done at a low cost. So let's open it up. Look at those hungry folks. They want to fill every brewery in town, every restaurant in town. That's what we can do. And as I spoke about as a kid, connection with nature, this is something that I feel very strongly about. And I'm currently reading the 2005 masterpiece by Richard Louv, Last Child in the Woods. He eloquently shares how critical being in nature is for children, and for nature as well. Instead of spiraling full of anxiety while scrolling through social media, we can reconnect today's generations with the peace and strength of the outdoors. And completing greenways can prove that biking and walking are actually the most fun and accessible action people can take for clean water, for clean air, and for the climate. This progress is like planting an orchard, an apple orchard since we're here in the mountains. Building bonds between people and nature that will bear fruit in the years ahead with environmental stewardship for generations to come. All right. Our movement needs Governor Josh Stein, NCDOT Secretary Joey Hopkins, and their teams to show up on bike rides and walks with us. We need legislative leaders to join us, and we need them to invest in making North Carolina truly the great trails state, full of widespread biking and walking that increases our quality of life and powers tourism in the decades ahead. As climate change resulted in unprecedented recent flooding in our communities, from Tropical Storm Chantal hitting Chatham County, Chapel Hill, and Durham this summer, to Hurricane Helene in our beloved mountains last fall, we must rise to this challenge together. We need to make it clear to Secretary Hopkins and NCDOT that the Clean Transportation Plan must include mode shift to biking and walking. We can double biking and walking, in fact, if we double investments to establish safe networks by closing gaps in the East Coast Greenway and other key networks. But it's not just building out new infrastructure. It's also about maintaining our greenways and sidewalks. NCDOT needs to assist localities and unincorporated areas with maintenance so that our trail systems aren't a series of disconnected islands, but instead a continuous network accessible to all North Carolinians. We need our state agencies, MPOs, and nonprofits to help small towns develop the capacity to get visionary projects done, like the 12 miles here in Hickory. And when we can, let's streamline that project delivery process with more of a YIMBY mindset, yes, in my backyard, than a NIMBY one. Also, I've got some group work for us. There's something I've seen very effective along the Greenway corridor, and that is to share overwhelming public support to get projects on the STIP, the Surface Transportation Improvement Plan, involving our members and volunteers to show that overwhelming support. In the greater Philadelphia area, we got a win last year of $100 million committed toward greenways and trails. The money is out there, but we have to make sure that the leaders are allocating it toward the projects we care about. And while I deeply appreciate recent legislative support for trails across the state, it's time for that funding to be recurring, The question should be, how visionary will investment be in a given year, not whether our state will invest in this critical infrastructure. Our competition includes Florida, a state that invests $50 million a year into their Sun Trails program. It also includes Connecticut, which invests a population-adjusted equivalent of $30 million plus per year. Can the Tar Heels and the Blue Devils and the Wolfpack beat the Gators and the Huskies? We'll see. It's also time for us to reinstitute a state match for bike and pedestrian projects, pure projects, not just when it's on the side of a road. Rural communities deserve to bike and walk safely, just like every other, whether they have the money to match a federal grant or not. That's the truth. Everyone loves trails and safe walks, but on this, talk is cheap. We need leaders ready to prioritize them in the planning and funding process. All right, so what kind of goals do we have? Let's develop the goals that can help people get inspired. My goal right now, knowing that not enough people bike and walk, full stop. It's hurting our health, our environment, and our economy. So my goal, is it to reach Netherlands by 2030? No, we're not going to get there. Well, I'd love to be surprised, please. Go for it. But I don't think we'll get there, but what I do think we can achieve is we can double biking and walking by 2030. We can each bring in new enthusiasts into the movement, moving trips from cars to healthier and more sustainable alternatives. We can lower costs of transport and increase joy, presence, and connection. Do people make friends driving fast in congested traffic? No. They get triggered into road rage, unfortunately. Instead, let's welcome folks onto our growing miles of smiles on the East Coast Greenway and beyond. This work, it's not just done on the state level or the national level, it's done community by community. We need leaders in every community to realize these dreams, from visionary mayors, town council members, and staff to neighborhood champions and thriving nonprofits. And we need to share an inviting vision that includes everyone. We need our dreams to be part of the platforms, stump speeches, and plans of key local leaders from Murphy to Manio. Our projects are indeed the antidote to the division orchestrated by algorithms to keep our attention through tribal fear and anger. It's up to us to build community across, excuse my French, the bullshit division lines that are being drawn by social media and AI tools. We choose joy and community, and we have to wake everyone up to make that choice with us. The question is, what kind of future do we want for our state? Because North Carolina is such a great state, it's one of the fastest growing in the country. Our state population has roughly doubled during my lifetime. I know I'm getting pretty old now, a little bit maybe, but still, that seems like a lot of growth. While we welcome new neighbors, we have to plan and manage our growth. And as the population keeps climbing, will we get our metro areas to establish biking, walking, and transit networks to move people? Or will we sacrifice the trees and green space that makes our state such a great place? What do you want to hear? Honking cars or singing birds? Now, I love this piece of art here. It says, what can one person do? What can one person do? They're all thinking that to themselves. And it makes sense. We can all feel alone amidst today's big challenges and in our divisive media system, but we're not alone. let's seek and deploy the power of connection and community. You can start a bike bus at your kid's school. You can get involved in and donate to nonprofits like East Coast Greenway Alliance and North Carolina Bike Walk. And you can make your local organization a member of the Great Trails State Coalition. Let's collaborate across our institutions and communities because our lives and our kids' lives depend on it. Now, since we're in Hickory, I have some local history that I think might inspire us. In the middle of World War II, this community of Hickory faced one of the toughest situations imaginable. Hundreds of young children throughout the Catawba River Valley were getting paralyzed by the polio virus in June of 1944. Hickory was at the epicenter, and hospital space ran out across the region. The words of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt had prepared them for this day when he said during the Great Depression, "The only thing to fear is fear itself." And Hickory didn't tear apart based on some ridiculous social media video pretending that one part of the community is the enemy. They came together as a united community and achieved what has been labeled the miracle of Hickory. When they heard a new hospital needed to be built, doctors and carpenters, taxi drivers and nurses, lawyers and secretaries built that hospital out of donated lumber in just 54 hours. Their collaborative spirit and determination served hundreds of polio victims in the middle of one of our most challenging wars. And national researchers followed that up, doing their part to make polio a thing of the past, thanks to Dr. Jonas Salk of the University of Pittsburgh when he developed a polio vaccine. It's key for us to remember such inspiring chapters in our history that display the power of connection, community, and collaboration, so we do repeat them, and we get out of the divisive tribal echo chambers and their attention-grabbing toxic cocktail of lizard-brained outrage. By doing so, we can maintain this amazing country that our founding fathers started 249 years ago, the United States of America. Growing greenways, biking and walking can restore the social fabric and fuse our identities back together as fellow North Carolinians, fellow Americans, and even fellow United Nations across this beautiful earth. And of course, for us to build this serious, sometimes widespread movement and to have the endurance for transformation, we need to embrace the joy of biking and walking, of groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings, and we need to tell a few dad jokes. For instance, what's the difference between a bicyclist in a suit and a unicyclist in a t-shirt? A tire. Come on, that's pretty good. That's pretty good, come on. All right, we're awake. Okay. Now, I want to say, jokes alone aren't enough, as we know. Like in sports and entrepreneurship, advocacy success requires hope, grit, and belief. Anybody like Ted Lasso? Believe, as I used to say to my kids when I coached soccer. In the nonprofit sector, our job is to inspire, to act, to change the world, in partnership with fellow visionaries in government and the private sector. Through such diverse collaboration, I've won fun championships in soccer and basketball with my teams. but there's no better feeling than a ribbon-cutting celebration where everybody wins and nobody loses. So, we're getting close here, everybody. What I want to say is, again, thank you for coming to this summit. Check out our website, greenway.org. Especially in today's uncertainty, it's not always easy to get out and get together and work hard and make a difference, but that's what we're here to do. When we hit setbacks and read bad news, let's remember the miracle of Hickory. Like those heroes in 1944, we can rise together through the power of connection, united for a better future, full of safe biking and walking. What miracles will we accomplish together that speakers will highlight in 80 years? Let's stay in touch. Connect with the Greenway Alliance or with me on LinkedIn and with Andrew. And let's move this Greenway forward. Let's move the state of North Carolina forward. Please sign up for inspiring e-news, updates, donate to nonprofits like ours, and engage the elected leaders in your community. And let's deploy the power of connection through greenways, bike rides, and walks all across our beautiful state. It's time we dusted off those mottos and put them to use. E pluribus unum and esse quam videre. Thank you. All right, so I've got some bike lights for anyone that asks a good question or says a cool comment. And we got some time here. We've got 25 minutes or so. 23 minutes, don't worry, Terry. So, any questions y'all have or comments? They are all welcome. And thank you so much for sitting and hearing. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, so you made something that was relatively simple, bike bus, in theory at least. In making the bike bus, did you reach out to the schools first?
Great. Yeah. Curious the schools' interaction with it. Absolutely.
Did they need waivers? Did they have to have a route?
Yeah. Yeah, great questions. And this is something you want to do based on, and I don't know if I'm going to toss this right, but one of your teammates here. There we go. Championship. All right. So essentially, for me, the first thing I did is I reached out to great people who had done a bike bus, and I asked for some advice. I talked to our friends at Bike Durham, and John said, oh, you should talk to David Bradway, who has done a bike bus at another elementary school. And I got some advice. And so we talked for, say, 30 to 60 minutes. So just getting that advice from a local friend or ally, or from someone like me, absolutely, since I've done it now. And one of the things he said was, we try to keep it informal. And that's up to you, if you want to do a bike bus. For us, we're trying to keep it that way. Keep it the responsibility on the parents. And, you know, if you want your kid to join this group, come along, you can bike with them. Or if you trust us, you want, you know, you can let them ride with us. But we have not made it contractual. And we have not made it, this is not an East Coast Greenway Alliance thing. This is a private citizen working with other private citizens to do something good. And that's working really well so far. And we did reach out to the school, and we said, yeah, we want to do this. And they were excited. And, you know, with the success of it, the most bikes they've ever seen at Southwest Elementary, the principal is really into it. He doubled the bike parking out in the front. And so we helped with that. And next week on Friday, this week on Friday, we've got good weather. And I'm hoping we'll have a good crew, because the school wants to do a YouTube channel video about the bike bus. And they're really into it. I think we could grow it. And this is the kind of positive stuff that we all need these days. We need some positive stories of progress and of kids doing great things. So yeah, I definitely encourage everyone to consider that, or any other thing. You could do a bike bus to your workplace, or just getting out with friends and working with your teams. But this has definitely been a very rewarding experience for me in just the last couple weeks. So love to talk more if you have more questions. Great question. Yeah.
I've got a microphone. If anybody has a question, I can bring that around.
Great. Or comments, all is welcome. And if you could say name and where you're from, that'd be nice too.
So my name's Kat Dale, and I live in Greenville, North Carolina.
Awesome.
So we're on the coastal route of the
Yes.
East Coast Greenway. And I bike around Greenville a lot, and I'm always kind of appalled that the Greenway, like, you know, in our area, we only have short sections of multi-use paths. Mostly it's on roads, and it
Right.
follows some like really high volume, super dangerous corridors. And I'm like, wow, we could be rerouting this thing in our area. Like, I know the quiet roads, it's not following them right now. And I'm so curious for folks maybe in our state or others, what's the best way to weigh in on sort of alignments? And I know that there's the like yearly survey, like tell us about sort of new updates or changes, but
Right.
is contracting Andrew like the best way to sort of think about rerouting, at least in the coastal
Yes.
area where it, you know, obviously the triangle is very complete, but the
Right.
coastal route is a little scarier. So
Yeah, great question, and that's absolutely right. Andrew is the lead person to talk to about that, and he's very personable. He'd love to hear your input. Yeah, I mean, when a state's population grows as fast as it is right now, the lines that we drew 10 years ago, they might need to change. So we definitely rely on local input and wisdom as we continue to update our routing. So yeah, please do reach out. Andrew@greenway.org is his email address. Yeah, excellent. And I can't throw that far, so. Here's a bike light, no? Okay, good, sounds good. All right, there's a couple questions there.
Yep.
Okay, while he's walking, what did Gold say to catch people's attention? Hey, you! All right, next question.
Hey, Emma Lynn with the Town of Wake Forest. Just out of curiosity from a coordination standpoint, because, you know, 3,000 miles, right? You've got to run into some municipality coordination. So just on a local level, what did that coordination look like? Because, you know, we all have our CTPs, we all have, you know, those sorts of planning documents. So just out of curiosity, what was that, or what is that like through that lens of the Alliance?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's 450 municipalities, so it's a lot, and it's fantastic. I mean, that's one of the things I love about the Greenway is all the different cultures, and it's just amazing. As I said, the foods and nature, but the accents, you know, Pakeha up in Boston, you know, and all the way down to nice rural southern accents here. It's fantastic. So engaging with local leaders is critical to our work. And getting the Greenway done, this is not a cookie cutter project where it's all gonna look the same. What we want is for every town to bring their wisdom to it and to say, this is the Greenway that I want. And so we're always trying to do that communal work of engaging and getting as much input as we can on the routing, but then also on what kind of route and how are we going to get this done together. So Andrew leads that work in the state of North Carolina, but we sometimes incubate organizations, because back in the early 90s when we started, we were fiscally sponsored because we hadn't established a nonprofit right away, right in 1991. So we were fiscally sponsored by Open Space Institute. And so we really love giving back. And so we've incubated Bike Durham. We incubated Raleigh Oaks and Spokes. We've incubated Free Walkers group, a walking group. And now we are the fiscal sponsor of the Triangle Trails Initiative, and Rashawn King is doing great work. And I hope he is a good resource to you, along with Sig Hutchinson and the whole team, just amazing people. And so some of that work, it's about building trust, it's about building communication, and then trying to get the alignment, and then implementing whatever plans we can get done. And one of the great things, Andrew's work, a lot of it is person to person, but it's also writing grant applications, you know. For instance, we have 8 or 9 planning studies that are active right now in the state of North Carolina. And so if your community is in a gap area along the East Coast Greenway, we have different stages of development. So gap is where we know we want it to go between these 2 points, but we're just not sure how we're going to get there long term. And so we need to do studies for that. And so we have a lot of the state moving toward that. If your community is in a gap area, we want to work with you to get the study done. If the study's done, we want to work with you to get that design. If the design's done, we want to work with you to get that construction. If construction's done, we want to work with you to activate that greenway into the best greenway the world's ever seen. So it just depends on what stage of development, but it's fun work, it's hard work, but it's fun work, you know? It's good, great question. I hope that helps. Great. I'm gonna toss this.
I'm Mike Hoffer. I'm with in Carolina Beach, and
Yes.
we're proud the Greenway runs
Yes.
right through our town.
Absolutely.
And to our friend in Greenville over there, we made some alterations to the route through Carolina Beach because we know we're local. We know the safer crossings in certain spots and a better route. And I reached out myself to I can't recall who. But y'all were great. I mean, within like a week, you approved our changes, and it was up on your website, and we went out and changed some of the signs around and stuff. So it was
Awesome.
It was an easy process. But I didn't want to speak on that. I just want to ask, since this is considered a state part of the state park, do you know, does the state park system dedicate funds every year for doing East Coast Greenway improvements? How can we find some of that dough?
It depends. That's one of the things. We want recurring funding. The Great Trail State Coalition is working to making the funding recurring, so every year to have guaranteed funds. We have had generous funding recently, and we still have around $4 million toward projects in the state of North Carolina. So those projects, they can't be paved through state parks. That funding had to go toward non-paved, but it could be like a boardwalk or something like that. So please do coordinate with Andrew and us if you have some ideas of projects. We'd love to work with you with that portion of funding, but we're going to try to keep working together to get more funding and to have it be very flexible, whether it's paved, non-paved, et cetera. So we're always looking toward that and trying to establish the best funding we can, you know, so we can move these projects. And thank you so much for your partnership in Carolina Beach. Appreciate it. I'll toss you this later. I don't want to hurt somebody. Oh, man. Watch out, everybody. Hey.
Nicely
Good
done.
stuff.
Yep.
All right. Take risks sometimes, you know.
Hi, I'm Mo Lindquist from Curry Beach, and
Excellent.
in Curry Beach, the East Coast Greenway connects to Carolina Beach, where Mike is from.
Yeah.
And we've gone through your process of feasibility study, and now our town, and correct me if I'm wrong, our yearly budget, town budget's like 13 million or something like that, right? Yeah, and so the cost on this 4-mile program is maybe 20 million now. So, and a lot of it isn't even on our town property. A lot of it is on federal property. How do we talk to our residents about how this is even feasible
Right.
financially?
Great question. Well, infrastructure projects have a cost. And so one of the things that we can talk about is there a road project that they're familiar with? So in the Triangle, there's huge widening or expansion projects like around 540 and things like that in the billions of dollars, So we can't look at greenways and that kind of funding with our checkbooks in mind. It's a different couple zeros, but the return on investment is what we can see. We have some reports, impact reports on moving the Greenway forward in a lot of different places, and usually we have a 10x return on investment. So that if a town does invest in a state and federal dollars, when we make those investments, we get an awesome return for the economy and for tax dollars for that community. Another important element of this is when we have the federal funding, like we've had historically. We've had some really strong federal funding the last few years. It's more uncertain right now, but the last few years, just to look at it historically, 80% of that funding was federal. So when you think about it from the town's perspective, instead of seeing 20 million, then you'd see, well, the cost for us will be 4 million if it's 20 million. So that 20% is the 4 million number. And then we can think about, well, how many years are we talking? And if it's over 4 years, it's 1 million per year. And then it's an investment that the town is considering. And so we'd love to help with that. What we're trying to do right now also is to inspire philanthropists to help as well. So people that are doing well, I'm surprised by the stock performance the last 4 years, many years. And so for some people that socked away more than me 10 years ago, 20 years ago, they're doing really well right now. So we've got some impact that they can make if they want to invest some of those dollars. So, in New Hanover County, you've got the endowment, and they're dedicated to the health of the community and the county. And so I would love to work with them. I've connected with some of them on LinkedIn and all, but really would love to work with them. A lot of that will focus on Wilmington, but I think we can get those funds all around New Hanover County so that philanthropy can play their part and help to match some of the funding that the town's considering and the state and other entities. So we're here for you to try to figure out, okay, we have this need, we want to move it forward as quickly as we can, how can we get the funds together? And that's something we have a lot of expertise in and experience in, so we'd love to work with you on that. But yeah, thank you. Great question.
Good morning, Dennis. Stephen,
Hey.
2021, as the COVID pandemic was ending, it was the greatest year part of it was a really rough year for me, but anyway.
Yeah.
In 2021, COVID was ending. I had the wonderful opportunity to go for a bike ride, and I did both routes in the loop up to Richmond, Wilmington, the entire thing, a 1,000-mile ride with a colleague. It was an amazing healing way to see the connection, see the Greenway as it's growing with all its pains, with all the complexities. I got to appreciate the complexities of bridges and towns and connections. And yeah, there are some fantastically beautiful parts, and there's some parts that really need a lot of work. So in seeing the entire thing, it's an amazing dream you guys have, and I really love what North Carolina is doing to connect communities in 2 routes like that. It's an incredible 1,000-mile loop that requires all of us to work together to build that so it is safe for everyone everywhere. Later that year, in November, came a little lower because I got hit by a car, became disabled, and I just want my comment to you two is thank you for the ECGA's commitment to ensuring that the trails that you identify are accessible to everybody. That is so important, more than ever, to everybody. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Stephen. Yeah, this work is so critical, and you're doing it just as strong as anybody. And Stephen's been posting signs to help make it clear where the East Coast Greenway is in the state of North Carolina, been a huge partner in that effort. Stephen's also, if you don't know, has been an amazing interpreter for those that can't hear. So he's been doing sign language for speeches at the National Bike Summit. So we're so honored to have you as part of the North Carolina community and for all the great work that you do. But thank you for the partnership. Appreciate it.